For most of American history, there was a promise. It wasn't written into the Constitution. It wasn't guaranteed by law, but it was believed deeply. If you worked hard, if you followed the rules, if you stayed patient, life would slowly get better. Not perfect, not luxurious.
Your parents struggled so you wouldn't have to. You'd earn more than they did, own more than they owned, worry less than they worried. That belief built families. It built neighborhoods. It built an entire nation. But today, something feels off. People are working longer hours than ever before, yet falling behind. They're more educated, yet buried in debt. They're doing everything right, and still can't afford the life their parents had.
So the question isn't emotional, it's logical. If the American dream is still alive, why does it no longer work for so many people? This isn't about blaming anyone. It's about understanding what changed and why the dream quietly stopped delivering what it promised. Before we say the American dream is dead, we have to be honest about what it actually meant. The American dream was never about becoming rich. That version came later, sold by advertising and social media. The original dream was simpler and more powerful. It meant one full-time job could support a family. Housing was affordable relative to income. Education expanded opportunity. Stability was achievable without perfection. Each generation lived better than the last. You didn't need to be exceptional. You didn't need connections. You didn't need to win. You just needed to participate. That's what made it revolutionary. In most of human history, effort didn't guarantee improvement. In America, for a while, it did. That belief became identity. From the late 1940s through the early 1970s, the American dream wasn't theoretical, it worked. One income could buy a home, raise children, cover health care, build retirement. College cost a few months of wages. Unions protected workers. Pensions existed. Healthcare wasn't catastrophic. Wages rose with productivity. This wasn't because people worked harder back then. It worked because the system was balanced. Capital didn't completely dominate labor. Corporations reinvested locally. The middle class had leverage. But balance never lasts forever. The American dream didn't die suddenly. It faded quietly. Starting in the 1970s, manufacturing moved overseas. Automation reduced labor demand. Global competition intensified. Financial markets gained power. Shareholders became the priority. Productivity kept rising. Profits soared. Executive pay exploded. But wages stalled. This is the most important economic disconnect of modern America. Americans were producing more than ever, but receiving less of the value. The dream didn't collapse, it decoupled. Americans today work more hours than most developed countries, take fewer vacations, retire later, change jobs more often. But job security disappeared. Pensions vanished. Benefits shrank. Temporary work expanded. Gig work normalized instability.
The old deal: loyalty, security, progress. The new deal: flexibility, insecurity, survival. Companies optimized for efficiency. Workers absorbed risk. Effort stopped creating momentum. It only maintained position. Housing, where the dream breaks. Nothing exposes the death of the American dream like housing. For previous generations, homes cost 2 to 3 times annual income. One salary qualified. Down payments were realistic. Today, homes cost 6 to 10 times income in many cities. 2 incomes are mandatory. Renting stretches into middle age. Housing stopped being shelter. It became a financial asset. Investors entered the market. Wall Street followed. Homes became vehicles for yield. When shelter becomes speculation, the dream collapses.
Education became a trap. Education used to be the ladder. Go to college. Get skills. Earn more. That logic worked until costs exploded. Tuition rose faster than inflation for decades. Student debt crossed historic levels. Degrees became common, not differentiators. Millions now start adult life, already behind, delaying milestones, renting longer, saving less. Education still matters, but it no longer guarantees upward mobility. The ladder moved, and many never reached it. Here's what truly killed the American dream. Basic life became expensive. Not luxury, not excess. Basics. Healthcare, childcare, insurance, transportation, food, energy. Even minor disruptions now cause financial stress. The dream wasn't about getting rich. It was about not living one mistake away from disaster. That buffer disappeared.
Debt replaced progress. When wages stopped rising, debt filled the gap. Credit cards, student loans, auto loans. Buy now, pay later. Debt replaced growth. Instead of earn, save, improve, it became borrow, maintain, repeat. Debt pulls the future into the present and charges interest. That's not freedom. That's time theft. The psychological break. Here's the part rarely discussed. In the past, effort led to visible progress. Today, effort prevents collapse. People aren't lazy. They're exhausted. When effort no longer improves life, motivation collapses. That's not a mindset issue. It's a structural one. Technology and concentration. Technology created massive wealth, but it also increased competition, reduced job security, rewarded scale, concentrated income. The economy looks strong. People feel weak. That contradiction creates anxiety and distrust. Why the dream is still sold. If the American dream is dead, why is it still promoted? Because stories outlive systems. The dream still works for a shrinking group. Hope stabilizes systems. Belief delays revolt. As long as failure feels personal, the structure remains unquestioned. This is global, not personal. This isn't just America. Across developed nations, capital became mobile, labor became replaceable, risk shifted downward. America feels it more because the promise was bigger. What dead really means. Dead doesn't mean impossible. It means the old formula no longer works. Timelines broke. Margins for error vanished. One mistake now costs years. That fragility kills dreams. A new dream is emerging. The dream isn't gone. It's mutating. The new version values flexibility over loyalty, skills over credentials, optionality over ownership, resilience over status. It's harder, less romantic, but more honest. The American dream wasn't a lie. It was real for a specific time. That time passed. The system changed. The story didn't. So millions blame themselves for failing a game that rewrote its rules. Understanding that isn't pessimism, it's clarity. And clarity is how new dreams begin.